virtually everybody, what do we then have? An end of war? An end of individual nations? I'm not exactly sure. But as NATO expands, eventually it includes everything. What then does it become? What is NATO protecting us against? China for a while? North Korea? Cuba? What? So, I'm not exactly sure what the nature of the organization is going to be as it expands. My mom wrote me a letter. She apparently was listening to another talk show, and they were talking about a nurse's memorial, and she almost picked up the phone and called that talk show. Quoting from my mom's letter now, the National Women's Memorial being built at the gateway to Arlington National Cemetery. I used to walk there every day when I was stationed at Marine Corps headquarters in Arlington. The memorial will be dedicated on October 16th through the 19th. And I have received a deluge of letters from World War II women veterans. There's an example on page 2, and I've got that here. These letters ask that I, 1, support the ceremonies, and 2, attend the dedication. I suddenly realized that this was national news and therefore worthy of your attention. This is from my mom now. Since 4 members of our family were in the service, you in Vietnam, your dad and I in World War II, and your grandfather in World War I, you are a natural to support this affair. If you are willing to give some airtime to this over the weekend, which of course I couldn't because I'm just now live, I'll put the information together and fax it to you. If this weren't a national cause, I wouldn't even mention it. But I think the people putting the affair together would be grateful for the support as well as veterans of World War I, their families and friends. Now, here are some of the veteran and state groups planning reunions to coincide with the dedication activities. Air Force Women Officers, United Daughters of the Confederacy, Women's Marine Association, Women's Military Aviators, and SPARS. What do you think, love, Ramona, Mom? And here is a letter my mom received. Dear Mrs. Bell, what a delight to hear you again this week on Art's radio program. That was a year ago, almost. I wanted to call, but the hour was short, and it passed quickly. Since you served in the military, I am curious to know if you are a member of WIMSA. If so, do you plan to attend the Women's Memorial Dedication events in Washington, D.C. next October 16th, 17th, and 18th? I've enclosed a copy of the dedication survey that I filled out earlier this week. Both my brothers served in the Navy. I served in both the WAAC and WAC. First in Albany, New York, and finally in Stockton Army Air Force Field, California. At the present time, I am a Ph.D. candidate and looking into career options. Would love to hear from you. All my best, Art and Ramona. Sincerely, Helen Wallace. So, there you have it. There is going to be, in fact, a very large women's military memorial dedicated in October. Over this past weekend, there was one dedicated in West Palm Beach, Florida, a women's memorial, but this will be the big one in October. So it sounds like my mom may be part of that. In a moment, I have had, up until today, one UFO sighting in my life. Today we had number 2. And I'm going to tell you about it in a moment. And I'm going to bring my wife on the air because because I deal in this kind of material, it's hard for me to report on this kind of thing myself. I don't like it. I don't like having to do it, but what I saw today was very clear, not ambiguous at all, and I will describe it in hopes of some of you having seen it. Our feeling is on Memorial Day, a lot of people were out probably barbecuing and doing whatever they were doing in this part of the country. And surely we could not have been the only ones to have seen what we saw. We will describe it in a moment. Well, all right, folks, here it comes for whatever it's worth. We had a hell of an experience today. Let me bring my wife online if I can. My wife's name is Ramona. She's rarely on the air. Let's see if I can get your mic working. Say something.
Very rarely on the air.
Okay. All right, there she is. Here's what happened today, folks. It was about, I think, about 11:40 in the morning, would you say?
Yeah, about 11:40.
About 11:40. And we were getting ready to go out and get some sun. And so I said, hon, why don't you go close the gate?
Yes. Yeah.
And you said, why don't you come with me?
Yeah.
So we walked down to close. We've got a gate that closes and slides closed. And we went down and closed the gate and started back up toward the house. And it is not an infrequent sight out here. I mean, we've got very wide horizons. We're in the middle of the very serious desert out here. And so you see a lot of sky. And it is not unusual for us to see a lot of jet activity at high altitudes. So I looked up, we both looked up, well, actually, first I think I did, at a contrail. And it was something leaving a contrail going like a bat out of hell from the east, let me get this straight, east-southeast to the west-northwest. And just to a bit north of the Pahrump Valley. Now, so far not unusual, but I stood there looking at it about halfway up the driveway, saying, God, that thing is going high. And I thought for a second, it might be a launch. It was gaining altitude so quickly, and already at a high altitude, that I thought I might be seeing a launch. So I said to my wife, let's get the binoculars and go look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran inside and got the binoculars and came outside, and I've got a very, very good set of binoculars, and I was able to resolve the fact that it was a jet aircraft of some kind. I could not resolve what kind. It left a double contrail. Maybe that will help some of you decide what kind it was. I don't know. But it left a big double contrail, and big wide. That's what made me notice it. And as we were standing in the backyard, and I was looking at this jet, what did you say?
I was looking at the same contrail, but as I was watching the jet go up, making contrail, I noticed just below it something shining, and I said, "What is that?" Just what is that? It was very curious.
And what it was, I looked too, and you could see it with your naked eye at that point. It was a cylindrical, round object. The sun at this point was high, but still behind it, not quite being up in the middle of the sky yet. So the sun could not have been reflecting on it. As a matter of fact, it didn't reflect on the jet.
No.
And this object was glowing like a 100-watt light bulb in front of you.
Literally.
I mean, actually, it was so, I would say, what would you say, silver in color?
Silverish.
Yeah. And it was tracking with the jet for a while, behind it, tracking with the contrail.
Mm-hmm.
And then it stopped.
Like it I hate to say it, it noticed we were noticing it.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
But it stopped anyway. It stopped dead cold. And at that point, I got the binoculars on it, and it resolved to be much larger, but still just a round, cylindrical, extremely bright. I would say glowing is more of the right term. Now, I have no way of judging how high that jet was, except to tell you we heard no noise. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing at
it couldn't be a commercial liner.
40, 50,000 feet easily, maybe more. And this object made no noise, none. And I think how long did we stand out there handing the binoculars back and forth and watching this damn thing?
Well, total, about 6 minutes, total.
4 to 6 minutes, somewhere in there, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it left its sitting position, and like a bat out. because I've got a good 35 millimeter camera, but it does not have enough zoom to it to have been meaningful, to have captured anything except a light. Now, through the binoculars, it was clearly saucer-shaped, cylindrical, and glowing and very bright. And now that I reflect on it, if I'd thought about it at the time, I do have an 8 millimeter video camera, which will zoom like 30 or 60 times, and I should have thought of that. I didn't at the time. I mean, it was the whole event took about 4 minutes, and so what do I say? I should have thought of the video camera. I didn't. I stood transfixed with my wife as we watched this. In a moment, we're going to move on to other things. We're going to go up into the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, and talk with a young fellow named John McKinnon. John was the manager of a television station in that area. John, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening, Mr. Bell.
Good evening.
Good morning, I guess it is.
Yeah, it's morning. I'm going to have to ask you to stay good and close to your phone, John.
Okay, is that all right?
That's much better, John.
Okay, great.
Keep it right up there.
All right.
All right, John. You were manager of Channel 13 in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin?
That is correct. I was.
Was. All right. What did you do as manager there? Explain the story, if you would.
Well,
please.
We had basically a pretty dry format, and political shows dealing with the governor of Wisconsin, interviews and with state representatives, and so on and so forth. And I wanted to inject a little bit more entertainment into this station. And, well, I've been a long-time listener of your show, Art, and I thought, well, I'm going to try to do something like Art Bell.
All right, now, bear in mind, folks, this is a public station, PBS-like?
Yeah, it's a hybrid, basically a combination of PBS and, of course, we do get some local production here. So we reach a variety of audience. We try to keep it. We tried to keep the station within the confines of attracting viewers in the immediate vicinity of our area.
How was the station supported? By donation, PBS?
It was actually funded by a group. I'm not sure if I should mention the cable station, by a cable entity.
All right.
So it was funded by them, and I don't want to mention any names. All
right. No, that's fine. Don't need to.
And then the city and the government was given that money in turn, and then we were, they'd been working for some 12, I guess, maybe it was 12 years, around 12 years to get this station off the ground. 9 months ago, they hired me to get it off the ground, and nobody thought it would work. And but we did get this thing off the ground, and it became quite popular. In fact, it had, from all, my estimations, had at times actually outrated the local networks, even in prime time, because of the kind of programming we were putting on.
All right, what exactly were you doing? You said you were going to sort of do a TV version of what I was doing here on the radio.
Yes, I started out with an investigative report on this gentleman in the area. His name is Billy D. He's very well known in this area, who has claimed to have been abducted by a UFO. Now, let me preface this with I'm very conservative. I'm a lifelong Irish Catholic. I have never seen a UFO, and like your wife, I don't want to see a UFO either. I'm not interested in it. And I was very skeptical about Billy D., and the board of directors of this channel was very skeptical about having Billy D. on this station.
They didn't much like you're doing that sort of thing.
They specifically said that it was not a good idea, but I went ahead and did it anyway, because I had an opportunity to talk to this gentleman, and much to my surprise, the credibility of his story was and the emotion that he told it with, and he was very articulate, just left me with little doubt that he believed every word he said. Whether or not I believed it was not anybody's, is not really any of my business. I don't.
Okay, John, so what did you do, a series of shows with him?
Well, I only did 2 shows with him. I did only 2 shows with this guy, and the thing hit the front pages of newspapers in the Midwest. It was put over the AP wire, and God only knows how far it went from there. I know it went as far as Madison, Wisconsin, and parts of Iowa and things like that. And I only did 2 shows with him, and then that resulted in Billy D doing shows in St. Louis, Missouri, Syracuse, New York, and even Tom Brokaw's NBC Nightly News people started to do a show on him, but was very, very oddly interrupted by some frequency problem that they were having at the time, and that's going to have to be rescheduled. But I'd done 2 shows of that. Now, I'm the general manager of a television station, and I only planned on interviewing Billy D once, but I figured I'd have him back again, and it just became too intrusive on my job. I would go out of the door, and it wouldn't matter if I was at the bakery or the bank or getting a hamburger or something. Everybody thought I was the interviewer of the Billy D, above and beyond with Billy D, not the general manager of the station. So I had to duck out of that position and replace myself with another interviewer. So this other interviewer was getting the same kind of response. I mean, it was almost phenomenal, the kind of response he got. The local Fox affiliate was considering doing putting him on the air to reach a market that would have been over 1 million people. It just got out of control, and he deserved a larger market than ours, which is considerably smaller than that. I didn't really want to be attached to.
So in other words, you removed yourself as interviewer,
right,
and went back to being station manager because you were beginning to be recognized for doing that kind of work instead of doing what you were doing, which was managing a big TV station.
Right. Well, this is actually, it became a big TV station. It shouldn't have been it had no business being a big TV station.
Well, it was VHF, though. It was Channel 13, right?
Right. It had no business being a big, but it turned into a big TV station because I thought, hey, I'm going to follow Art Bell's format. But I would warn any general manager in any station in this country to be very leery of doing things like that, because this resulted in actually one of my guests, not the UFO show that was on here, but one of my guests that I was going to do about 2 days before I was fired, or terminated, as they so kindly called it. I was going to do a show with a gentleman right down the coast, I guess right down the lake from here. And he received death threats. So you got to be really careful about dealing with this kind of material. It was absolutely incredible, the kind of response we were getting. And not only that, I didn't want to be associated with UFOs.
I understand.
I haven't seen one. I didn't want to be associated with it. And, I'm not sure that I'll believe in an alien until it comes up and kicks me in the shin.
Yeah, I'm with you, actually.
But I'm telling you something, there is something very strange going on out there.
All right, so let's move on now.
Okay.
I did a program, a several-hour interview with Elizabeth Clare Prophet.
Right, and I heard that. And I had seen the following, either it was before or the following day, something on hard copy, which had made Elizabeth Clare Prophet look like a fanatic. Now, this was the straw that broke the camel's back for for my station and for this job that I was holding as general manager / program coordinator. Now, I had an interview with Elizabeth Clare Prophet, and I found her to be a lovely lady with sort of an intensified beauty and gift for life.
That's exactly how I found her too.
And I couldn't make her look bad. I had no, I thought, I'll try to get
In other words, you couldn't fairly make her look bad. Now,
well, that's true.
You can come on, as some of the tabloid shows have, and you can do a story that is negative. It can be done. I mean, let's face it.
Well, yes, I certainly could have. But I wanted to follow the Art Bell format. I wanted to give these people a fair shake, a fair shot, without interjecting my preconceived notions.
From May 26, 1997.
Good morning, everybody. This probably is correct. It says, a quick primer on ATC, or air traffic control. Art, you were calling control towers to find out about your UFO and the high-altitude jet you saw. It is not at all unusual for them to be unaware of the traffic you were asking about. If it was at any altitude at all, and it was, it would have most likely been under control of an air route traffic control center, or ARTCC. In the case of your traffic, it would have been under the control of Los Angeles Center in radio communications. As it progressed to the northwest, it would have come under the control of Oakland Center, unless the traffic was going to land at one of the airports or Air Force bases. You called the tower controllers, who would have been unaware of that traffic. In point of fact, if the traffic was above 30 or 3,000 feet AGL, it would not have been in the airspace controlled by Nellis or Edwards. You called the wrong people. Well, that figures. Also, 99% of the controlling that a tower controller does is done visually. Not all towers have radar screens in them. If they do, it is a repeater of the local approach control. I could go on and on, but you get the picture. Signed, Clint. Thank you, Clint. Yes, I'm sure you're exactly right. I have absolutely no idea what normally would be done. I just know what I saw. All right. We're going to go to open lines here shortly. Anything you want to talk about is absolutely fair game. All right. We're about to go to open lines. Again, the president in Europe right now, and it is very interesting that our president appears prepared to, nearly in an unlimited fashion, expand NATO. And I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of NATO is going to be. It's even going to include, to some degree, Russia and all of the ex-Soviet satellite nations. They'll be included. And slowly, NATO is becoming a worldwide organization. NATO, of course, originally formed to protect Europe, basically, against a Russian invasion that would come through the gap in Germany or something, or whatever else. But now we are expanding NATO to be what, is my question. One world government? One world control of some kind? I don't know. The end of all wars? Well, I guess if everybody joins NATO, there wouldn't be any wars. I mean, that isn't the way the world really works, is it? So, what happens when everybody finally joins NATO? Then what is that organization, exactly? The Montserrat volcano in the Caribbean is getting ready to let go again, maybe. It has been in constant ash eruption for the past 10 days, and it could either continue spewing ash or it could blow. Nobody knows for sure, so they're keeping a very careful, watchful eye on Montserrat. So beyond that, I've got several other items, but I'm going to hold them, and I'm going to go to open lines here and let you say whatever you want to say, and I'll sort of drop the rest of this in as we go. There is one other item. This is a very interesting article indicating that in Japan, it's from a Japanese newspaper, a project reminiscent of Steven Spielberg's movie Jurassic Park is underway. A team of scientists there are going to attempt to bring prehistoric mammoths back from 10,000 years of extinction. This is no joke, folks. The team, headed by a professor of animal husbandry at Kagoshima University plans to extract sperm from the bodies of mammoths buried in the Russian region of Siberia. Once the sperm has been extracted, they will use it to fertilize ova taken from living elephants. And in this way, they expect to be able to bring back the woolly mammoth. That's incredible. According to Goto, the research project is the first of its kind in the world and will take advantage of Japan's advanced technology in genetics. Researchers from the U.S. and Britain who have probes equipped with lasers are expected to join the search for the remains of mammoths, and Russian scientists are planning to take part in the effort as well. So, yesterday's science fiction becomes today's science reality. And we've done shows in the past that have speculated about doing this exact kind of thing. And now they're going to do it. So there you've got it. Watch out, coming soon to a zoo near you from 10,000 years ago. A giant woolly mammoth. And who knows what all else. Reminiscent of Jurassic Park? Oh my. And I sort of wonder if it's such a good idea. What do you guys think? In other words, if something has gone extinct, isn't there usually a good reason for it? What about the old, it's not nice to tamper with Mother Nature? In other words, to bring back an animal that today would have no natural predator and might be a predator itself, whether it be to vegetation that we currently have or other animals. Somehow, I've got this feeling that we're rushing in where angels and even God will not tread, because the woolly mammoth does not seem to have come back on its own. And if we bring it back from 10,000 years ago, we're going to get ourselves into deep doo-doo. And that's just me and a little worry, and I don't know if it's a justified worry or not, but it's doing, in my opinion, God's work, except that we're not gods. And something like this is going to bite us in the butt. I just know it is. I just know it is. All right, there's one more item, and then I'm going to the phones. As you know, my book, I am so proud of it. It's called The Quickening. And the first printing came out about, a month and a half ago? And the first printing sold in 2 weeks. Whoosh, like that, it was gone. And for a month, we had no books. The second printing has now arrived and is available now, as of right now, for immediate shipment. You can still get, even though it's the second printing, it is the first edition. It is a first edition copy, and you can get an autographed copy. What I'm going to do is, as I was doing when we had books before, and thank you all for buying them in such a tremendous frenzy, I was autographing books as fast as I could. I am going to continue to do that until I get tired of it. I've had a break, so it makes it a little easier. But I will tell you on the radio when I am no longer autographing books. It doesn't mean you can't get it. It just means you will not get an autographed version. So here they are, ready for immediate shipment. So I would be very honored to have you read this. It is a book that I had to write. One of those things that was easy because it just sort of poured out. And I would value your opinion and feedback on the book as well. And I'm not going to go into, at this moment, what it's all about. If you're a listener to this program, you know. So there you go. They're available until I say otherwise. Judging from the way the last printing went, I wouldn't wait. 1-800-864-7991. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, Art, this is Dixie in Planet Berkeley.
Yes, sir.
If John is still listening, there's a committee called the Committee on Democratic Communications. It's a national committee of the National Lawyers Guild.
Mm-hmm.
And he should get in touch with them at 558 Cap Street, CAPP, in San Francisco, 94110, or he can call them at...
No.
Oh, do you not want that phone number?
No, not on the air.
Okay, but anyway, tell him to get in touch with them because they will give him good advice as to how to handle his case. His lawyer should get in touch with them.
Yeah, all right. Well, that sounds like a pretty fair idea to me, too. You know, I'm sorry to see it. I think that would not have occurred in the commercial marketplace. But I understand how it occurred with a board of directors and a publicly funded kind of deal. Still, it smacks terribly of censorship, and the manner in which it was done sounds rather unprofessional to me. In other words, you would expect a series of warnings of some sort prior to police chiefs coming in and all that sort of thing. East of in Los Angeles, Art, what can I say except I'm sorry I read the LA Times yesterday. They had a 2-page article on cannibalism in Russia. What seems to be occurring is street children are being taken and eaten. They are the victims, street children. Many of them, they think as many as 12 or 13 children now, have been actually taken by a serial cannibal and eaten, and they're finding pieces all over the place. I'm sorry, but this is true. Diane goes on to say, and now it's going on in Russia, Korea, and China. She's absolutely correct. I saw the report. In fact, it was on CNN. And I don't know how much sicker society can become before whoever is out there takes one big look at this and cleans out the petri dish. I'm telling you, we're on our way to an event. Believe it. We're on our way to an event. And I'm not a prophet, so I'm not going to tell you what that is. I don't know. I wrote it in the book. When you read this book, you will be convinced, as I am, that we are on the way to an event. Or you might just, if you wish, read the daily newspaper, as Diane in L.A. did. Or listen to the hourly newscasts, if you can handle it. But it's obvious that in every category of human endeavor, we are racing toward an event of some sort. West of the Rockies, you are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. I'll just grab the radio.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Doug from Vancouver.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Good. Art, I've been trying to get in for a while here. There's an incident that apparently happened in Brazil, and I've never heard you talk about it of all the times I've listened.
Yes, in fact, I had Stanton Friedman on talking about that incident, sir. I'm sure it's the same one.
Yeah, apparently they've captured 3 aliens, and the fire department was involved.
That's right. That's what the claim is. Yes, I did a program on it.
Oh, you did?
Oh, sure. That kind of thing doesn't get away from me.
Okay, I'm just wondering, do you have any... I mean, that's a pretty incredible claim there.
The U.S. military is also alleged to be involved.
Exactly.
And once you get the military involved in these things, sir, they just disappear.
Right. Now, what is your take on John Carpenter? Do you know him at all?
I do. I have interviewed John Carpenter. Mm-hmm. There's hardly anybody in this field, I think, that... Well, that's not true. There's always somebody. Yeah. But I've interviewed most of the people in the field. I'm just wondering, how do you rate him as... Very highly. Credibility? High on the credibility scale. Are you familiar with any of these associates in Brazil that are the head of the MUFON in Brazil? No, not at all. Okay. I only had to go thank you on what Stanton had to say. And he interviewed some of the eyewitnesses, and it seemed very clear and unambiguous. So that's all I can tell you right now. First-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Art. How you doing?
I'm okay.
This is Kevin from Lakewood.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I finished reading a book, and I'm about halfway through reading it twice there.
Oh, the quick hitting?
Yeah. There's 333 pages. 333 mark, 337 total. Right, okay.
To be exact.
To be technical, right?
I thought I was about right.
What you had a caller a while back talking
well, wait,
about...
hold it. What are your impressions?
Of the book? Oh, I liked it.
Thank you.
Great.
On the mark?
I'd say so. Quite scary.
Yep.
A lot of things in there got my attention, I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very well written.
Well, what I tried to do was simply document facts. Now, we put a little bit of fiction in the front of each chapter to try to... well, the idea of that was to try to show you where the facts presented were going to take us. But 90% of the book is simply documented fact. And that's what's so scary about it.
Yeah, I like the way you put the little story in the front there. It kind of brings the situation more to life, I think.
Yes, sir.
Makes it seem real, I guess is the word for it.
Mm-hmm.
More real than make you imagine it anyway. Yeah, that caller, you had a couple callers back was talking about the Virgin Mary appearances out in California City.
Yes, sir.
A good friend of my mother's goes out there once a month, and she brought back some photos with her that she had taken out there on an instant camera. There was not a cloud in the sky, and she took about 25 photos, and every photo came back with something, an image, whether it was a picture of what looked to be Jesus, others looked to be Mary, some looked to be angels. You can see crosses in the formation of what looked to be like clouds.
I think there's going to be more and more of this.
Very, very strange.
I agree, but not unexpected. Thank you very much for the call. Okay, let me walk you through contents of the quickening, all right? I've never done that. I suppose I ought to. The introduction, the quickening defined. We, in other words, define the quickening in the beginning. Chapter 1 deals with technology, America's technology, Russia's, the Internet, fiber optics, virtual reality. We deal in Chapter 2 with our economy, as I told you. America's heavy load, I've talked about it many times, the European Union, the road to global economies. Chapter 3 is government, fragmenting governments, American sovereignty in decline, and global government on the rise. Chapter 4 deals with societal matters, the American social fabric weakening, the militias, terrorism, illegal immigration. Chapter 5 deals with religion and spirituality, the New Age movement, modern psychology, UFOs, extraterrestrials, the paranormal, one world religion. Chapter 6 deals with the environment, environmentalists, American consumerism, our natural resources, global warming, ozone, nuclear radiation. Chapter 7 deals with disease and famine, emerging viruses, emerging bacteria and parasites, venereal diseases, actually, plural, biological warfare, and global solutions. Chapter 8 deals with earth changes, volcanoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, droughts, astronomical hazards, global preparedness. In the beginning of the book, it serves up a warning, which simply says, the following material may not be suitable for those of you not prepared to face the realities of the future. These may seem like isolated snapshots of some far-off world. In truth, they are all symptoms of the same cause, the quickening. And again, this is not a book that I just set out to write so I could write a book. It's a book that I had to write. You understand the difference? There really is a big difference. Even when I did my first book, it was a book I set out to write. This one came from me. I don't even know how to explain the difference. The first one was difficult. It was autobiographical. It was painful in some ways to, dig through your life. Try it sometime. But the second one demanded to be written. It came from inside. Because I know what's going on. I don't precisely know where it's leading, but I know that it's going to get there pretty soon. So
That's kind of a leak through a content of some of my book. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
This is Jeff from Pinson again.
Yes, Jeff.
Got an idea for a new book in case you're thinking of what to be writing after The Quickening.
I am not thinking of that, but go ahead.
I've often wondered if there's ever been, of course, you know, being a military man, that there used to be ship recognition manuals of all types of vessels during wartime.
Sure.
Has anyone ever compiled a nice coffee table book on about a UFO recognition manual?
You mean kind of like a Jane's?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just nothing but pictures, a little bit of text at the bottom, nothing but photographs. Coffee table book size, huge. And just have just hundreds of pages and just all kinds of listings in terms of shapes and where they've been seen, and maybe a national map on the back.
You really want to get people going and make them angry?